Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Lokashankaram समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं परमानन्दमाधवम्. So in this session on spirituality in action, the second session, in the first session we saw what is spirituality. And we translated the word spirituality, the English word. We took the Sanskrit equivalent, Adhyatma. So spirituality, the word, Adhyatma. So Adhyatma pertaining to the self. And then we also saw that there is something called spiritual progress. Like how there is material progress, there is progress in knowledge. Like that there is something spiritual progress. And what is a spiritual progress? At this point of time, we have an idea of what we are. And we also have an aspirational eye. We have an eye, we know that, I'm a little bit, I can get easily irritated, angry little fast. Occasionally, some amount of turbulence in the mind. Desire, anger, greed, jealousy, selfishness. So we have an idea of what we are. And we also have an idea how I should be. So the I of today and the aspirational I of tomorrow. And as this gap is reduced, and when I start moving towards the aspirational I, then I say it is spiritual progress. And then we also saw that this is a science. When I say science, this is a complete body of knowledge with its own thoughts, theories, concepts, clarifications, doubts, questions, answers. And this entire body of knowledge is encompassed in what is called as Adhyatma Shastra. And comprehending the wisdom of this Adhyatma Shastra, one can actually affect this spiritual progression. And to have the spiritual progression, the Adhyatma Shastra we refer to, the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, etc. And to enable this spiritual progression, if you remember, I took a Tirukkural. Karka, Kasadara, Karpavai, Katrapin, Nirka, Adarku Taga, which referred to what is Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. So Karka, Shravana, Kasadara, without any doubts, have a good clarity, Manana, and then abide by that knowledge what you understood, Nididhyasana. In this way, we have the spiritual progress. Today, in the next half an hour, we will see how to spiritualize the realm of our work. Spirituality in action. How can the spirituality come into our action? That is the topic we are going to look into. There is a very beautiful verse in the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, verse number 26, which gives a broad idea of how we can bring this spirituality into our day-to-day work. The verse goes like this. Those of you who know Sanskrit will be able to understand a little faster, but even for others who do not know Sanskrit, I'll explain in English a little more, so I'm sure you'll be able to get it. Mukta Sangaha. That is the first word. Mukta Sangaha. Anaham Vadi. The words are very easy. Mukta Sangaha. Free of attachment. Anaham Vadi. One who is not preoccupied with the I. Anaham Vadi. Who does not keep on telling I. Anaham Vadi. Then, Dhriti Utsaha Samanvitaha. Dhriti means perseverance. Utsaha means enthusiasm. Samanvitaha means one who has. So, one who has perseverance and enthusiasm. So, first one, free of attachment. Second one, not preoccupied with the I. Then the third point, perseverance and enthusiasm. And the next one, Siddhya Siddhyor Nirvikaraha. It has got three words. Siddhi Asiddhi. What I said. Siddhya Siddhyoho. In Siddhi and in Asiddhi. Siddhi means success. Asiddhi means not success, failure. Nirvikaraha. Balanced. Karta. A person who performs this way. Sattvika Uchyate. Sattvika Uchyate is spiritual in nature. A little broader translation. Spiritual in nature. Okay. So can we just recall these points? One is free of attachment. Mukta Sangha. Next one is Anaham Vadi. Anaham Vadi, literally not saying I. What you say is what you think. So not occupied with the I. Anaham Vadi. Then next one, Dhriti Utsaha Samanvitaha. Dhriti is perseverance, Utsaha is enthusiasm. And the next one, balanced in success and failure. So if we want to be spiritual in action, if these things come into our action, then the action is termed spiritual. Okay, so now let's go one by one point. Mukta Sangaha, free of attachment. Whenever we say attachment, the question will come, attachment with what? Free of attachment, all right. With what? Now, free of attachment with the results of action. We are talking of action here. Okay? So, free of attachment with the results of action. Now, what do you mean by results of action? Whatever we do is for a result. Now, very interestingly, it says, you do, but don't be attached to result. And many people they start wondering, what is all this about? You do, but don't be attached to result. Actually, we are doing for a result. And now it is said here, you do, but don't be attached for the result. So what is this? Is it not a contradiction? If I don't aim for a result, why should I work? Prayojanam anuddishya na mandopi pravartate. A very famous kind of proverb in Prayojanam anuddishya, without keeping the prayojana in mind, na mandopi pravartate. Even a fool will not begin an action. And the first point said here is that don't be attached to result. What this means is that when you work, enjoy your work. Don't be too much thinking about the result. Yes, we are beginning the work for a result. But when you work, enjoy that work. Let the result come when it comes. But you enjoy the work. See, many times, we find people so much preoccupied with the result. And continuously the mind is, will I get? And the very action which they perform suffers. Often, when children, they are so, in the examination time and all, you'll find them so tensed. Even those good students who study well, when the examination comes on that day, something happens. In the schools we find, they say that you got stomach ache, feel giddy, vomiting. And some children who are so good in the subject, they go to the examination, sit down, and there they faint. That is okay for children, but elders also. Sometimes, this interview thing is there. No? So you go for the interview, especially when you are sitting in the interview panel and you ask questions. The person is so much tensed. What is the name? Be calm. All right. Where do you come from? Some other answer. Why? Because the mind is so much that I should do well in the interview. And actually what happens is that you don't do the action well. So if we can develop a method by which we enjoy the action and do not worry too much about the result will come anyhow when you do the work well. That is called as being free of attachment to the result. So the clue is here. How can I be free from the attachment to the result? Enjoy the work. There's a nice proverb in English. Success is in the race run, not in the trophy won. Did I say that right? Success is in the race run, not in the trophy won. Just imagine a pot, okay? It has got lots of holes. What will happen to the water which is in that? It will just flow away. The same way, mind is a storehouse of energy. But if there are a lot of holes, regrets about the past, excitement in the present, anxieties about the future, then the mind is not available for work. So spiritualizing action, the first thing when it is said is being free from attachment to result. It means just enjoy what you do. Let everything happen in time. Another way to make this happen is what is called the theory of karma yoga. There will be occasion where we can discuss that in detail, but in a very simple way it means this: when I perform the action, I tell myself I am not doing it for myself. See, this is a method by which we drop the attachment to the results, karma yoga. So I say, I do it for the happiness of the Lord. Then what happens? You are not so much occupied with yourself. I do it for the Lord. Then when you do your action for the Lord, then what happens? An action what we perform for somebody whom we love, we do it perfectly. We do it with great happiness. And then our mind is with the Lord and not in the fruits of action. Then immediately mind becomes free and the action becomes perfect. So this point is called Mukta Sangaha. Shall I go to the next point? I'm sure some points, some questions may be there. If some questions are there, please make a note of it. At the end, we will have some time to discuss. Next is Anahamvadi. Anahamvadi is not being so much occupied with the ego. Ego is a very heavy weight to carry. Children, innocent, they run around happily here, there, everywhere. That's because the sense of ego is not fully developed. The I is not very strong. We make ourselves the center of the world. And then we suffer. Wherever we go, we look at how others are looking at us. Whether the other person smiled at me. And when the other person has not smiled at me, then that becomes a tension. If the other person smiles in a very different way, that becomes a problem. If the other person too much smiles at me, I start wondering. Actually, you are not so important, the other person is not thinking about you so much. But we are so much occupied with ourselves that it is such a burden that the art of being carefree is lost. Rivers, mountains go about their work without the notion of I. Of course, they are inert. If we can have this ability by which we do not keep on be engrossed with the I, being free of the I. Swamiji, our Swami Chinmaya Gurudev, there's a very nice anecdote in this, one of our mission secretaries, Chinmaya mission secretaries, he sent a letter to Gurudev, Swamiji. So he wrote a very large letter, said that when the first spiritual discourse was conducted, I was a secretary. And I have worked so much to make this mission center very strong. But for my efforts, nothing would have come up. Because of my strength, because of my contacts, and because of my hard work, the whole mission center has been built. And now in the mission center, so many activities have come up. And I have ensured that many people get an opportunity to participate. And I only had the mission committee. So a huge letter. And then in the last paragraph, but now nobody respects me. I find myself not being appreciated. My contribution has not been seen, and etc., etc. So I, my. And then finally, I request permission for resigning. I want Swamiji's advice and blessings. So what Swamiji did was, he rounded all the I, rounded all the my, and then he wrote, total number of I, 75. Total number of my, 45. Reduced by 25%, problems will be solved. When we are occupied with the I, we create problems for others and lot of problems for ourselves. Anahamvadi is this sense of not being occupied with the I, but like how the plants and the flowers and the trees and the stars and the cosmos, how they all work with integration. Actually speaking, we are also part of nature. Yes or no? Is there any difference between me and the tree outside? No. When I go to Africa for a holiday, say example, everything what I see is nature, including the people. And when they come and hear, they look at us as part of the nature. We are all one cosmic whole. Nothing can independently work to perfection. And nobody is an individual. Now I am talking now. If I am talking now, do you think I am talking? Swamiji, you are talking? No. The words which I have learned, somebody taught me. The knowledge that I have, somebody was kind enough to give me. The many doubts I asked, somebody was compassionate enough to clarify for me. The very hall that I have, somebody has built. The mic that is working is because of somebody. If you look at anything that I have, I am not responsible for it. What am I responsible for it? There has been the participation of the entire cosmos to make me. So how can I say I? In me is the whole cosmos. So when one understands that every bit of oneself has got participation from the whole cosmos, then the sense of I being so and so naturally becomes very weak. One more example. See, in the ocean there is a wave. A wave rises. How does a wave rise? Do you think the wave rises because the wave rises? Every drop of water in all the oceans are responsible for one wave to rise. So how can the wave claim for itself anything? A sense of humility pervades one's life if one sees that one is not self-made, but the whole cosmos has contributed to what one is. And this is very important to rid the person of the ego. And once we are free from the ego, the mind becomes totally free for perfect action. Anahamvadi. The next one is Dhriti Utsaha Samanvitaha. Dhriti is perseverance. Utsaha is enthusiasm. Perseverance, enthusiasm. Perseverance is the ability to be at it even when it is very difficult. Think of a marathon runner. The marathon runner, as he runs, sometimes when he is nearing the last lap of the race, it is so difficult. There is no energy. But then, even then he continues. That is perseverance. So perseverance is the ability to move forward when the going is tough. That is a very important spiritual ability. When the going is tough, just be at it. That is spirituality in action. When we say going is tough, just be at it, if there is a inspiration, then that will happen. And that is why perseverance and inspiration have been put together. When the goal is sufficiently inspiring enough, then in spite of difficulties, we keep walking. But if the goal is not inspirational enough, then what happens? Then after some time, when some difficulty is there, one says, enough. So, Dhriti Utsaha Samanvitaha. So, if we want to have perseverance, have inspiration. So, let the goal be inspirational. And no goal can be inspirational if the goal is selfish. As long as the goal is oneself, then sufficient inspiration is not possible. It is the nature of the human mind not to be inspired only with the self. If the goal is little more than self, if the goal is little more others' happiness, there's a fulfillment, others also involved, their happiness is there, I should not give up, then inspiration comes. You'll find even dogs, you throw a stone at a dog, dog runs. Bring a stick, the dog goes away, runs away. But if that dog has puppies, try. Take a stone, it will not run. It will run for you. Bring a stick, it will immediately jump at you. Why? The goal is now more than herself now. So this secret of perseverance and enthusiasm is here. Choose a goal which is more than oneself. And you'll always find, if somebody has got a goal, the nation, some great cause, they are very persevering people. They'll go behind you till they elicit your support. Why? Something happens to them that they become very, very inspirational and they start inspiring others. And great movements come because of people who have found goals larger than themselves. Whether it's the freedom of the nation, whether it is the rights of some, in America and all the rights of the blacks. You find great people coming up. Where did that greatness come? Where did that inspiration come? because they found greater goals. A person who's a happy person is a person who has found a greater goal. The moment one finds a greater goal, that person is stronger than what you can imagine. Maybe weak, but strong at heart. Maybe small, but highly capable. Maybe not so intellectually vibrant, but somehow very, very committed. And inspiration, perseverance, all go naturally with such kind of people who have discovered great goals. Dhriti utsaha samanvitaha. What all did we see? First one, mukta sangaha. Can we say the Sanskrit word first and then the English? First is mukta sangaha. What does it mean? Free of attachment towards a result. What does it mean? Enjoy the present work. Anaham vadi. What does it mean? Literally it means not saying I. But what it means is that not being caught up in the shell of the ego. A bubble of the ego. Anaham vadi. Right? Dhriti utsaha samanvitaha. Two things coming together here. Dhriti, perseverance. Utsaha, inspiration. Because perseverance will be there when inspiration is there. And what is the secret of perseverance and inspiration? Larger goals. What do you mean by larger goals? Goals not limited only to oneself. In fact, it's a very happy life having such goals. It's very fulfilling. Not to be selfish. Triti utsaha samanvitaha. And when such kind of larger goals are there, great aims are there, a person will not be easily shaken up by success or failure because they have greater goals in mind. Siddhya siddhyor nirvikaraha. When you have something inspirational to achieve, how can you be so sad about something which goes bad on the day? Part of the day. Chale, move forward. Why? There's so much enjoyment you are having inside. There's so much you want to accomplish. You're a bundle of energy. Then how can you keep such people down? They've got a natural, the cars and all have, what they call it? Cars, when the wheels and all. Shock absorbers. They have natural shock absorbers there. People, small people having small goals about only themselves, they are interested. One word here, one word there, upsets them. But this fellow who has got larger goals is looking at this person who's upsetting him and finding out, how can I catch this fellow for that goal? Because this person sees the beauty in that person also. A little brash person, how does it matter? He's telling the truth. The thinking process is different. Very calm, quiet, docile person. Calm, quiet, docile, but go-getter. So such people who have got this kind of mental makeup, spiritual makeup, they see farther than what happens. In success, they only think this works. In failure, they find this does not work. Gone. Learned this much. Move forward. Siddhya siddhyor nirvikaraha. Such a person is a sattvika doer. Karta sattvika uchyate. Right? So, in a very few points, Shri Krishna brings to the attention what are those important values we can develop to become excellent performers, to be spiritualized in our action. That is spirituality which brings out our true potential to its greatest glory and zenith. Because it is Adhyatma Shastra. It works on you. Right? So shall we again say this verse? I will say the verse. Can you repeat? And that way, if you want, you can write down the verse also. It's 18th chapter, verse number 26. It's a very well-known verse. After this comes, who is a Rajasika doer? That's a middle type, selfish type. Who is a Tamasika doer? And that refers to the, how do I translate Tamasika? It is also selfish, but it is more geared to causing pain to somebody. The Rajasika, these are terms there in the Bhagavad Gita. At some other time we can see. But here we have the Sattvika doer. Okay? I'll just say the words, please. Mukta Sango Naham Vadi Dhrityutsaha Samanvitaha Siddhya Siddhyor Nirvikaraha Karta Sattvika Uchyate. Mukta Sango Naham Vadi Dhrityutsaha Samanvitaha Siddhya Siddhyor Nirvikaraha Karta Sattvika Uchyate. Free of attachment to the results, not occupied with the ego, endowed with perseverance and enthusiasm, balanced in success and failure, is the art of spiritualizing our work, our action, and bringing out the excellence in us. Okay? That's Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.